This is Mike Pearlman doing a 1,000 miles of stories for the Mexican 1000 and the Baja races. And we have a story again from the beginning, even before the beginning. Before Nora was involved with any kind of off-roading in Baja, Ed Pearlman read a little article in the Tarzana newspaper about how Bud Ekins and his brother and Eddie Mulder and Cliff Coleman set a record on Triumph motorcycles from Tijuana to La Paz. And he read this article and he goes, I could beat that in my Toyota Land Cruiser that had a V8 in it and it was hot. So Dad got some white tires. He found a guy selling farm implement tires out of the newspaper. And he got that guy. The guy said, I'll give you some tires if I can be co-driver. Well, his name was Dick Cepek. So Dick Cepek and Ed Pearlman got started with the Baja races because of this group of wild guys that did a record run from Tijuana to La Paz.
Broke the Honda record.
Eddie Mulder was part of that. And broke the Honda record.
Broke the Honda record.
And Eddie's gonna.
8 minutes or something.
I heard some stories about some fights you got into and some stuff that happened.
It was nuts, man.
So tell me, what I remember the picture of you guys at the border.
At the border, had a
all
hammer.
wide eyes, and yes, here we go.
Cigarettes in our mouth.
Yes, and crossing the border, and go ahead, Eddie. Tell a story about what happened.
You know, me and Cliff Coleman were in my '57 Ranchero, and my buddy Gordon was driving us down there to drop us off. Excuse me. So we are whistling down the 405, and the Ranchero quits. Fuel pump in Long Beach. Pull on the center divider, unload the motorcycles, and suit up, and ride to San Diego. And at the border, there's Bud and stuff. Jump into this little restaurant there and grab a little something to eat. And got a cheeseburger and put it underneath the bungee cords on the gas tank. And Bud walked in and punched some kind of a time card or something to make it legit.
At the
border, right?
No, where you send a telegram at the telegraph office.
Yeah.
Because they had the
Western
clock,
Union
Western Union
Western
telegraph
Union,
office.
yeah.
And you went in there, they had a time clock, you punched the time clock, and that was your time.
And away we went. So by this time it's probably 7 in the evening, daylight saving time, you know, and I was just a young kid, and Bud asked me to go, man, and we had all the bikes from the 6-day trials.
With the little headlights on them?
Little stock chicken shit headlights, and when you stall the motor, the lights went out, so off we go. Get through Tijuana, and I mean, I'd never been to Mexico or nothing before, and Bud had, I guess, and stuff, and we're on this mountain road on the pavement, and all of a sudden I see a bunch of sparks, and the lights go out, and all 3 of them hit some diesel fuel and fell down. And luckily I stayed up, and we got up and put everything back together and taped Bud's primary case up and threw some oil in it and took off. And I think it was 38 hours and some odd minutes it took us or something. And Bud would go up and wake up the turtle guys, the turtle trucks, Mike, to get fuel. And I mean, scary, man. Me and Bud are hammering along. And I remember being so tired and smelling Bud's German cigarettes.
Yeah.
He smoked constantly. I smoked cigarettes in them days too, and rolling along, and it seemed like we were in a tunnel. I said, there can't be a chicken shit tunnel in Mexico. It seemed like we were so burned out that we felt like we were in a tunnel for miles. And we'd stop and have a little taco at some little village and just keep beating it up. And David dropped back, and Cliff Coleman thought he was going to pull a fast one and cut a trail. Left us.
A shortcut?
Left us. And boy, Bud was nuts. And Bud was hot-tempered, man. And finally we get about maybe 100, 150 miles. You could see the lights of Baja. And from Bud falling off.
The lights of La Paz?
La Paz, excuse me. And you could see the lights, and me and Bud are going down I think there was like 100 miles of some kind of pavement. And David's bike started messing up, so we left David or we weren't going to beat the Honda record. So we're going along, and all of a sudden Bud's primary chain locked up because when he fell off in the pavement, all the oil ran out. And we forgot to put oil on it, didn't have any oil. So I put my right leg up and pushed Bud the last like hour and a half, right up to the Western Union thing. Bud ran in and punched the thing and beat the Honda record by, I think, 8 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. You know, and so we go, Bud gets us a hotel room, and we have the motorcycles laying there, and here comes David, and then here comes Cliff Coleman. You know, and we were all amped up, and we're sitting there and standing there, and Bud goes, "That son of a bitch." Coleman gets off his motorcycle and puts his stand down, and Bud knocks him right up. And we went back to drinking margaritas, got up the next day. Bud had it all arranged. Man, he kept such good care of me. Rode the motorcycles up in this like dual engine Mexican.
It's a DC3 with a big door on the side.
Rode them in there, leaned them on their side. We sat on the ground and landed in Tijuana and came home.
Oh boy.
It was amazing.
That was
it was amazing.
one of the first record attempts in Baja.
It was the second record attempt. I think Honda did it, but when Honda did it, God bless them, with Bill Robertson Sr. and stuff, you know, he had an airplane.
Uh-huh.
And he was giving them fuel and food, and I mean, it was a whole different thing. We were, you know, we didn't know where we'd get gas. And Bud had a piece of chamois that he'd put over the gas cap and pour the Mexican gas in it. And
Keep the water out.
Keep the water and all the BS out of it.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I mean, we watched the sun go down, we watched the sun come up, and we watched the sun go down. And just, I mean, I didn't have a clue. You know, I was like 19, 20 years old, you know, and just, I was on McQueen's 6-day bike.
Okay.
Bud had them all.
Was it a 500 or 650?
500, 500. Never touched it. And Bud's was good except till the primary chain froze, and it was amazing, you know. Got home and thanked them and put it in the books.
Really?
Yeah.
And Ed Pearlman read a little article about that.
Exactly.
There it went. The Baja Mexican 1000 got started.
And then your dad took it by the horns and put on the first 1000.
Put on the first 1000.
Exactly.
His co-driver, Dick Cepek, opened up some off-road stores, and he was going to sell off-road equipment, which he sure did.
Yeah, big time.
And that was back in the day, from day one.
That's when men were tough.
Well,
or stupid, one of the two.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, boy. How about the guy, me and Bud were riding along, and I see this guy running along, and he's got a rope trying to lasso Bud.
Come on.
It was nuts, man. I mean, it was amazing. You know, if I knew then what I knew now, I don't think I'd have went.
Baja was a wild back then, and that's what was so exciting about it.
You know, there was no roads. You know, it was just, I don't know how Bud knew where the hell we were going.
Well, the semi-trucks that brought supplies down Baja made the roads.
Is that what it is?
And they made
guys.
the turtle trucks and the food trucks and the trucks that brought whatever down, the groceries. Some of it came over on a boat, but a lot of it came down.
I remember we pulled into a there was, I think a bonfire, and these guys are all asleep, and I see this big turtle truck and stuff, you know, and I'm going, man, oh man. Bud goes, oh, it's okay, and I'm going, I ain't getting near that shit, man. And there was a rope, like a 3-inch rope, right, around the camp. And I said, what's the rope for? Keep the snakes away.
Right, snakes won't go over the rope.
And Bud would wake these guys up, gasolina, and get some gas and put the chamois down, and away we'd go, man. It was amazing. You know, I mean, You know, I was honored that Bud actually stepped up and asked me to go, you know. I think
You were his little boy.
I was his little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kept good care of me. God bless him.
Yeah, that's good. Then you got involved with some of the score races with
Scott
Scott Dunleavy,
Built
with Honda.
Yeah, with Honda. Scott built us some gorgeous 650s and 628s Hondas.
Did you ride them, or were you part of the chase?
Oh no, I
group?
rode them. Me and Scott, we won the 250, San Felipe 250 twice. Won our class in the 1000 once. And for some reason, I never rode the 500. And then we got a second behind Ricky Johnson and a bunch of hired guns in the 1000 one time. So, you know, Scott's stuff is amazing.
So you're not new to this stuff.
No, not anymore.
You gave birth to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. And then you came down for our event. You were our grand marshal,
That was an honor.
and we had a good time.
That was your first 500.
You and Carl.
Me and Carl Crum.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's another story for the books.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get Scott and Daryl Hamilton, a couple of fairly young gunslingers to ride one of our old Triumphs in one of your
You
races.
still have the old Triumphs out here,
Oh
don't you?
yeah, I got all the Triumphs still, yeah. I just took most of them to Mark and Randy Zimmerman's museum in Senior Valley, the Pikes Peak bike and the Cub and all that stuff.
So I didn't know Eddie Mulder back then. And then all of a sudden, he moved in next door to
Tell
my
them where
house.
I met you.
And he came to a garage sale when we moved in, and I said, well, "You're Eddie Mulder. You're one of my idols. I used to watch you at Ascot." And I went to my toolbox and I handed him all my Whitworth tools.
Still got 'em.
From my old days, Craftsman Whitworths. And I said, "Here,
You'd
Eddie,
like to have
these
back,
are for
wouldn't
you."
you?
And no, I don't like working on those Triumphs anymore. Anyway, I gave him all those tools, and then about a month later, he moved in next door.
And then
And
we
we
started
did-
Pikes Peak.
And then he said, "Mike, you gotta take your bike. Let's do Pikes Peak." I said, "Eddie, I've never done a professional race like that. Come on, I can't ride Pikes Peak. I'm not." "Yeah, you can. You're gonna go to my school. I'm gonna teach you to ride, and I'm gonna fix up your bike."
That's right.
Okay, so we started
Hanging out.
hanging out, and I'd come to his garage, and we'd work on my bike, and he got me up Pikes Peak for 10 years.
Exactly.
And one night, I remember, I'm going to tell this story, Eddie. I got a little pissed at Eddie. I got a little upset with him because I was working under the bike. I was laying on my back in his garage, and he goes, "Why don't you get off your butt and do something like your dad did?" "What are you talking about? Why are you telling me that?"
Because it was necessary. Somebody needed to step in there.
Okay. So I thought about it for a couple of weeks. I was a little upset with him, and, well, he kind of kicked me off my butt, and we did something like Dad did. Thank you, Eddie.
My pleasure. I think you've done an excellent job.
Brings tears to my eyes, but that's okay.
You know, when I went to was honored to, when you asked me to be the Grand Marshal at the 500, and I figured I'd go down there and see a bunch of stuff laying all around and completely unordered. It was completely, I was impressed with the whole deal. You know, that your staff and all the people, the whole deal was really buttoned up.
We worked real hard at it, and
Yeah.
we worked full time at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was great. It was great. We had a good time.
that was a good event. That was a good event.
And are you going to do that again, Mike?
The 500?
Next year?
Well, we're waiting for this virus to clear.
Yeah.
And when the virus clears, we're back. And there's no sense in doing it early. I don't want to get somebody sick and
Exactly.
hurt.
Exactly.
There'll be plenty of races. We got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Other than that, the fact that you challenged me to do something like my dad did, I'm not pissed at you.
Remember
anymore,
what I
Eddie.
wrote in the dirt at Pikes Peak?
Eddie, I remember we got up to Pikes Peak, and Eddie goes, "Mike,
Mike was all nervous.
don't be so serious. Don't be so nervous. Don't be so serious." And he got down on one knee and he took a stick. He goes, "Give me that stick." And he wrote "fun" in the dirt.
Big fun.
Huh?
Big fun.
Big fun. And I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Have fun, relax, enjoy this. We're having a good time." Well, yeah, okay. And I got back on the bike, and it turned into fun. And I went faster. He told me not to look at the ground. He told me to look up at the sky,
Good.
and
Where
you'll go
you're
much
gonna be.
faster. And told me to look around the corner instead of at the corner. And thank you, Eddie.
My pleasure. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
How about the
We did.
time that I took your truck?
Took
The
my
Bud
truck.
bikes and you flew in?
Oh yeah,
And then you blew up the Triumph, and you had the motor shipped in, and me and Scott
yeah.
threw the motor in it for you.
yeah. That was we did a lot to get up the hill at Pikes Peak.
I'm out, Eddie. I'm out. I said, no, man.
I still have that bike, and I still ride it, and
That's the
still
Hindle.
work. It's the Hindle frame Triumph,
With a Carl motor.
Carl's motor, and one carburetor. I always wanted 2 carburetors so I could go faster, and then he said, "No, 1 carburetor, you go faster." No, Eddie,
Runs better.
they're passing me in the long straightaways. Oh well. So I tried 2 motors, and now I'm back to 1 motor. So
Carburetor.
Carburetor. Yeah. Okay.
A lot of fun.
So Eddie, you were kind of responsible for all the Nora stuff that we're doing now. Thank
I'm
you
honored.
for pushing us,
Hey,
and responsible for the first races that Dad put on,
exactly.
because you were part of that group that went down there and
Then
bunch of
Uncle
crazy
Bud
wild
took-
hooligans.
Oh boy.
Okay, well Eddie, I thank you for number 1 being my friend,
My pleasure.
number 2 for being responsible for the Baja races that are going on right now.
And I'm proud to be able to wear that hat, Mike. You know,
Okay.
I didn't think you'd take me serious.
Yeah, I did. Don't challenge me again.
Oh, no.
Too old
I
for
keep
it.
my mouth shut now, which is something unusual.
Okay, thanks again, Eddie.
All right, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it, buddy.
And
And we'll see you in Baja.